So we have our presenter with us. Of course, I'm excited about this segment. We have Tshani Jaja, and of course, she's marketing and communication specialist. Our presentation, the topic this morning is the difference between thriving and surviving. Tshani, I'm excited. I really want to hear more. So let me just tell you, Tshani Jaja is a marketing and communication specialist with outstanding track record of experience and results across several industries, including telecommunications, hospitality, media, innovation, and manufacturing. She's a visionary and a creative thinker who has amassed over 17 years of experience, competency, and accomplishments in marketing strategy, development, public relations, digital marketing, campaign developments, and communications. In her most recent role to full-time consultancy, before moving to full-time consultancy, she served as director of marketing at Yellow Media Group, where she had responsibility for developing and overseeing. Let me tell you guys, this is a lot of work being done by Tshani. The strategic marketing focus for 21 markets across the Caribbean, Central America, Central and Latin America. No, Tshani, 17 years, and Tshani look like 21. Make a welcome, ladies and gentlemen, or session or facilitator or topic this morning, the difference between thriving or surviving and thriving. Welcome, Tshani.
Thank you so much. I mean, when you were reading that bio, I was like, who's that girl? Who's that person? You know what? But when you enjoy what you do, it doesn't feel like 17 years at all. Can you see me? Because I can only see the presentation.
Yes, I'm seeing you, Tshani.
Okay, perfect. I love marketing. I fell in love with marketing since I started at UTech. I actually went to school to study hospitality management, and I was introduced to marketing as one of the courses, and I immediately fell in love with it. And since then, I have been a marketer. I'm a marketer at heart. I think the profession chose me, and I'm just excited for where profession is going, where the industry is going. It's just so multifaceted, and I'm excited to share with you and the team today just a little of what I've learned, and also research and trends that are taking place. It's such a dynamic field. It's such a dynamic area, and I'm just looking forward to sharing with everyone today. All right, so we're gonna go straight into our presentation this morning. I want to say thank you so much for inviting me to be a speaker at your conference this year. I had the opportunity to join the main presentations yesterday, and I had a bit of an experience today, you know, listening to some of the other presenters for a short stint. But, you know, I'm just so excited to see how brands and companies are evolving. I love the fact that you have taken it to the virtual space and creating this opportunity for your team members to learn, for them to engage, for them to connect with each other in a digital space and still be able to, you know, just move forward with learning different ideas and different strategies. So thank you so much for inviting me to be a part of this session. I'm really looking forward to sharing with you all today. All right, so without any further ado, I'm gonna go straight into my presentation, which is marketing, the difference between surviving and thriving. And I actually wanna start with a very profound quote that the Honorable Mia Motley at the opening ceremony yesterday shared, and it was just so profound. I felt like this was the appropriate way to actually start this presentation. And she said, extraordinary times require extraordinary actions, and the difference between surviving and thriving requires extraordinary actions. You know, when she said it, I said, wow, this is just so. We've all been caught up in a state of uncertainty over the past 2 years, you know, us, you know, facing the pandemic together, and in different ways have felt the effects of the pandemic, you know, not just, you know, health-wise in terms of seeing our loved ones passing, seeing countries suffering from an economic state, health-wise know, just all the challenges that we're faced with. And it really is an extraordinary time that we're in. And so it requires us to now get into that mode of being the innovators that we are in order to capitalize on the opportunities that are also available because of these uncertain times and these extraordinary times, in order for us to really pivot in a way that we're not just surviving as a business, but we're thriving. And marketing is going to be one of the tools in which we'll be able to do that and do it successfully. So what I'm going to share with you today is I'm going to share with you a few cases, some best practices, and the core of what marketing is built on, which is really consumer insights and understanding the consumer, and why it is important for businesses as they're looking to pivot, as they're looking to build out their marketing strategies and the marketing tactics, to fully understand who their consumers are, their behavioral pattern, their interests, their influences, and then develop to create those marketing programs, marketing structures, marketing efforts that will be able to not reach them, but to engage, convert, and have them as our loyal customers. So the difference between surviving and thriving, you know, when I thought of this topic, I thought of, you know, just survival instincts. And that's one of the things that we all have as human beings, the tendency to survive when our backs are against the wall. You know, we kick and we fight, and we refuse to go down without a fight. And that's the resilience of even the Caribbean as well. I remember Terry Carell, she actually said it yesterday in part of our opening speech, you know, that we are a resilient set of people. You know, we are resilient, we are passionate, we are driven, and we're also very innovative. And so the difference between surviving and thriving is really a mindset. Surviving, it's to continue to live or to exist. So, you know, you're continuing along the same trajectory. Nothing is changing. Nothing is really, you know, evolving. We're maintaining the same pattern. But to thrive, that requires a different mindset. To thrive means to grow, to develop well, to prosper, or to flourish. And I'm sure all of us, whether it is in the business, as a credit union, or just in our individual lives, our family, you know, our personal goals, we want to be in a state of mind where we are thriving, where that passion, that resilience, that commitment is being driven through us. It fuels us day in and day out to grow, to develop well, to prosper, and to flourish, because that is all our desires. And so the difference between surviving and thriving is indeed the mindset. Surviving is doing what is necessary to live. We have to do the basic. We know we have to drink water every day, right, in order for us to survive. But if we want a healthier lifestyle, we know that we have to do the extraordinary things. We know that we need to exercise. We need to eat a certain balanced diet. And we know that we need to also do the things that are necessary to keep our bodies physically strong so that we are able to excel. So even though it is important for us to survive, what the pandemic has taught us over the last 2 years is that surviving is not just enough. We have to grab the bull by the horns and see what are the opportunities that's out there for us to really thrive. And businesses are doing that now more than ever. They're kicking into third gear, second gear, fourth gear, fifth gear, and really pushing the limits to what they can do, because they're not just seeing the limitations, they're seeing the opportunities, and they're seeing opportunities that they never saw before because their mindset is also shifting. So a thriving mindset is defined by continually challenging oneself. What will it take for a business to move from surviving to thriving? It takes a new mindset. And my bishop, she always says this. She said, when you have a new mindset, you are able to produce new results. There is a famous quote that says, a mind once exposed to a new idea cannot retain its former state, which means that we have to give ourselves the opportunity, and we have to give ourselves the flexibility to develop the new mindset by pushing the boundaries and ideating in a way that does not limit us based on our circumstances, and it doesn't limit us based on what's happening in the environment. And for businesses, it's important for us to look at those opportunities and not become comfortable with the old way of doing things. You see, what worked last year, or what even worked 2 years ago as a business, and even in the area of marketing, is no longer relevant. It requires continuous evolution, it requires continuous innovation, because the industry itself and people in general are evolving at such a rapid pace. The more we're exposed to it, the more we expect. It's the more that we're searching for things that will fuel our needs and our desires and meet up with our behaviors and our lifestyle. So 2 years ago, marketing, I can tell you, 2 years ago, marketing is very different from what it is today. Not to mention 17 years ago when I started marketing. You know, every marketer will tell you that they learned the 4 P's of marketing, and the 4 P's then evolved to the 5 P's, 6 P's, 7 P's, 8 P's. I don't know how many P's they have now for marketing, but I can tell you that even some terminologies in marketing, when I started out, we no longer use those terminologies. And likewise, the terminologies today, things such as data analytics, content marketing, community management, those terminologies didn't exist 17 years ago when we started marketing, when I started marketing. And so it is an evolving field. And it is an evolving field because consumers are evolving. With the advent of technology, persons are exposed to so many more different ideas and opportunities. And so marketing, it's a channel that is able to reach and engage with them and convert them. And so the actual science of marketing also needs to evolve with the changing needs of our consumers. So yeah, we need to do marketing, but not just any marketing. This is where, for all organizations, the marketing has to be cutting edge. But that starts with innovation. As a brand, and each of the credit unions, they are brands, right? I was once told by one of my former bosses, he said that a brand is a promise kept. And that essentially is what it is. So for brands, we must innovate. And innovation requires an understanding of who our consumers are. But we must also create value. Gone are the days that we can build something, we can create something, and it's just about selling it because it's a product that we believe in. We believe that it has value. But today, the consumer dictates what is valuable to them. And so we must create value by understanding what the consumer needs are. We have to build responsible business models. And what innovation is causing us to do now and pushing organizations to do through marketing is to develop business models that can serve the growing and the evolving needs of our consumer market. We must engage with customers where they are. And that's important because now more than ever, customers are interacting with brands at various touch points. You know, before, years ago, there was traditional media that was utilized primarily to reach potential target audience. But now there are so many different ways through digital channels that we're able to engage with our consumers at the point where they are, instead of trying to get them to come to where we are. So we engage with them through our social media channels, through our digital channels, through websites, through the various channels that are available to them via their mobile devices. But in reaching them, it's not just enough for us to reach them. We have to be able to engage with them as well. And we have to serve those customers' evolving needs. I keep reiterating that because it is so important. And for marketing's role is to understand what those customer needs and customer pain points are, so that we can then develop the right programs, the right packages, the right offers, the right campaigns to reach, to engage, and to convert our potential target audience. And not just to convert them, but also build a loyal customer base. And we have to be, as a business, committed to unlearning and relearning some stuff. We can't hold on to the old and expect that the old will be sufficient for where the new is going, for the new mindset of our consumers, and we're holding on to the old ways of doing things. What we need to do as marketing, as a team, as a function in an organization, is utilize the strengths that we have developed over time, the key learnings that we would have amassed over time, the data, the intelligence that we would have amassed over time, and build on that and learn some new things throughout the process. You know what I love about this age that we're living in is the access to information. We have information at our fingertips. And I know I'm speaking to both marketing professionals and non-marketing professionals. And that is why I'm so excited to even share, because marketing is not a department. Marketing is not a unit. Marketing is a mindset. And it's something that has to be understood across the organization, because marketing, in order for marketing to be effective, to take a business to a place of thriving, it requires a partnership of every department within the organization. It requires collaboration. It requires ideation at all levels in order for those marketing programs to be highly effective, to take the organization to a place where they're striving. And what are some of the current challenges? I did my research. All right. The thing I love about marketing is that, you know, marketing is applicable to every industry. And I did some research, and what I identified in terms of the current challenges, especially for the credit unions, is that maintaining relevance in an evolving market. And I know what that is like. I've worked with brands where, you know, we constantly have to innovate because it is important for us to maintain that top of mind awareness, so that when our customers are making those purchasing decisions or thinking about a partner, a financial partner, or telecommunications partner, that top of mind awareness, because we've built such a strong brand identity, will allow them to choose us first. But I know the challenges that the credit unions face, because it's hard. It's been difficult to maintain that relevance in an evolving marketplace. There are so many different financial institutions that are emerging on a daily pace, you know, offering various services, hybrid services that the credit unions would have offered as well, you know, keeping branches relevant. What's happening now is that persons are looking for easy touch access to financial services, to financial advice, to loans. And, you know, what's happening a lot in Canada, where I'm based, in the United States, where I have, where I travel a lot, and even in the Caribbean, you're seeing now that evolution where persons are leaning towards online as a means of opening accounts, you know, applying for credit cards. I can tell you, it's so easy to get a credit card now. When I was 18, it was the hardest thing. It was like pulling teeth. But it's so easy for them to have access, and they want to be able to do it in a way that it doesn't require them to physically be in the branches. So it's keeping the branches relevant so that it doesn't feel like it's a hassle to consumers. Lifetime membership value. I used to be a member of a credit union a long time ago, and I can tell you from my personal experience, when I just started working, it was a greatest experience for me. But as I matured, as I grew, as I was introduced to other financial institutions, it was difficult for me to still understand the relevance that the credit union would have in terms of my financial decisions. And I know, you know, even through doing my own preliminary research, that's the feedback for a lot of my peers, and also for persons that are younger professionals. You know, when I ask them about the credit union and the feedback that they have provided, we know that that's one of the challenges in terms of the credit union maintaining that level of relevance in an evolving marketplace and for evolving consumers. It's increasing your digital channel usage. Account holders' demands reflect the world that we live in today, and this translates to personalized service and 24/7 reach. So consumers want to know that they can reach their financial institution via chat, via phone, via social media, via online, whenever it is they need to have access to them, because they view financial institutions and especially credit unions as partners. And unfortunately, gone are the days where it's just a 9 to 5 where people are doing business. Now, with the advent of technology, people are doing business 24/7. People are looking for loan opportunities, having business ideas. They have they want to purchase a home, they want to improve on their home, they want to purchase a car. And these ideas are not just limited to the 9 to 5 operations. And so for the credit union, they have to be accessible to provide information, expertise to consumers at the point when they're searching. And one of the biggest problems as well is underdeveloped and non-compelling mobile platforms at credit unions. So this data that I'm sharing with you now is not my own, just feedback based on preliminary discussions that I've had with my peers. This actually comes from a source, which is creditunioninsight.com. And they are an insight body that does research in terms of, challenges that credit unions are having globally, not just specific to the Caribbean. And what they're saying is that while a mobile platform leads itself to creativeness, what we can do with mobile still needs defining. So there's a lot more opportunity that the mobile device provides for businesses, especially the credit union, where consumers want to be able to reach their financial advisors and partners, at the click of a button, through their mobile devices. And the next challenge that credit unions have is integrating the various channels. There are so many different channels now to reach and engage their potential audience. And it's understanding how to integrate those channels in a way so that you are actually providing value-added service to your consumers. And it's not just that you're trying to establish a presence, because presence alone is not cutting it. Gone are the days where you just needed to maintain a presence on social media, a presence online, a presence via, whether it is the brick and mortar offices. Gone are the days. Those are the surviving days. To lead into the thriving days, we have to be effective and relevant and provide value-added information whichever channels are being utilized, and combining it in a way so that the consumers see you as a key opinion leader when it comes on to financial matters that concerns them. But the credit unions also have a huge competitive advantage compared to the traditional financial institutions. And this is where, from a marketing perspective, we're now able to leverage these competitive advantages and really target the evolving consumers. So services such as personalized customer service, higher interest rates on savings, lower fees, lower rates. I don't have to tell you, you're in the business, right? Community focus. What's big for consumers now is that they want to have a sense of identity. They want to know that the partners that they choose are part of something or championing a cause of something that is greater than them. We see it now. We see it with all of the movements that are taking place, the young advocacy groups that are taking place. People want to feel as if they're a part of something. And when they have partnerships with business entities, they want to support those business entities that are also invested in their communities and are standing for something that is greater than just financial gain. It's about community and people development, and that's how they feel a greater affinity with the brand and with the partners that they choose to provide them with financial services and advice. Insure deposits, variety of service offerings, and additional considerations when using a credit union. I enjoyed my credit union experience. And I know that if others, especially the millennials and the Gen Zers, and we'll get into those later on, if they were able to have that experience, then they would realize the added value that a credit union provides for their financial freedom and their financial development and knowledge. So how can marketing help? It really starts with understanding who our customers are and their evolving needs. This is an awesome quote that I really love by Jeff Bezos. And he said, we innovate by starting with the customer and working backwards. So we know Amazon in the last 2 years, if you had stocks in Amazon, you'd be cheering right now, because Amazon has literally taken off. I believe that they are now the epitome of thriving, and thriving in really challenging situations. But he said we innovate by starting with the customers first and working backwards. That becomes a touchstone for how we invent. So innovation is not done in a silo. We don't just come up with an idea and then we try to market it to our consumers. We think about their pain points. We think about their challenges. We think about their behaviors first, and then create the innovations to meet those needs and provide the solutions to the problems that our consumers are having. And I love that, because I believe that this is how all organizations that have the desire to thrive needs to see the development of their products and their services and their solutions from the customer standpoint, working backwards from the customer, and then inventing and innovating. So it's important to know your audience. Knowing your target audience and how to reach them is arguably one of the most important steps to creating an effective marketing strategy, hands down. I believe in this 100%, because if we don't know and understand, it's almost as if we're shooting in the dark, right? But it is important. But in order for us to know our target audience, it requires some investment. It requires us to be very focused and very intentional about understanding the customer, and that starts with market research. I love the fact that business intelligence, there's so many different, applications, software, there's so many different tools that's utilized now, and there's so much access to information about our consumers' habits, where they spend most of the time, the length of the time that they're spending on websites, the length of time that they're spending on other pages, how they're responding to other brands, what are their interests, what are their influences, what are their triggers, and what are the things, Lord God, I said, Lord God Almighty, I felt like I was preaching, sorry about that. So, and what are the things that also helps them to make those purchasing decisions? So at the zero moment of truth, when they need to make a purchasing decision, when they need to make a partnership decision to choose who they're going to have as their financial partner, we understand from a credit union standpoint what are the triggers or what are the things that appeals to them, so that we can develop that as part of our strategy in order to reach, engage, and to convert them. So it's understanding those customer triggers, and we each have them, right? So and understanding the behavioral patterns. No more than ever, whenever we go on website, the websites are tracking our behavioral patterns, they're tracking our interests, and that's what I love about marketing. It's kind of it's still an era that is debatable, because persons would say, well, how much information, there's no privacy anymore, and how much information are you actually collecting on me? But the truth is, when you are able to use data that is non-intrusive, but to help to create value for a consumer, it means that an organization is doing a good thing. You're creating value. Now, you're not using it to manipulate, but you're using it to create value. And that's what consumers want. They want value from the partnerships that they establish. Targeting the now and next generation. I am a person that I really don't like labels. I don't like labels because I think, when we talk about millennials and Gen Zers, a lot of times persons look at these as persons that fall within a particular age group. But no, more and more what we're seeing is that these are persons that think a certain way, they operate a certain way, so they follow similar patterns. And it's no longer about age, but it's about mindset, it's about behaviors, it's about pattern, it's about interests, it's about influences, But it says millennials and Gen Zers view financial services differently than the boomers and the Gen Xers that preceded them. So the the group before, the older age group. And it's okay, because when you're old, you must celebrate. At least you still have life, right? So I celebrate every milestone that I have as a birthday, because I'm not worried about getting old. I'm just giving thanks for life, because I'm at least grateful that I'm able to celebrate another year. But back to the presentation, because sometimes I can go off on a tangent. Millennials and Gen Zers view financial services differently than boomers and Gen Xers that preceded them. And that's just the reality, because so much has changed. The millennials and the Gen Zers, they're exposed to different things. It's different ways of doing things, right? I have a son. My son is 18 years old. He's going to be 19 in October. And his way of doing things are slightly different from mine. And I can appreciate that and I can embrace it. Similarly, my way of doing things is very different from my mom, right? So instead of shunning it and fearing it, we embrace it. We understand that that's how they learn. We understand that that's how they're exposed. We understand that that's how they process things. And so we are able to meet them at the point of their need and their interests and their behavioral styles, right? A 3-year study that was conducted from scratch, which is it's a body that conducts research to identify patterns and behaviors. And they found that millennials and Gen Zers increasingly viewed financial institutions as irrelevant. Now remember, millennials and Gen Zers, their mindset is they need what they need now. They need responses now. They are in the age of what I call the instant gratification. And so instead, viewing financial institutions as irrelevant, it's because of how some financial institutions have provided, have kind of built roadblocks or so many barriers to embracing the millennials and Gen Zers and also engaging them where they are. Gen Zers and millennials, they want to be able to access accounts, to open accounts, via their mobile phones without having to physically go into the branches. They want to be able to have access to customer care via the different platforms, via social media, via online chat, in a very efficient way that allows them to have, instant access, whether it is 3 o'clock in the morning or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And so that's bad news for the credit unions, right? But the good news is that credit unions can gain the trust of these highly influential generations by demonstrating that they have the same fundamental foundations, which is involvement in social issues and community, in common. Millennials and Gen Zers, they are advocates. They want to feel as if they are a part of something that is greater. If you watch the news, if you've been, seeing what's been happening, a lot of new movements, a lot of non-for-profit organizations, a lot of initiatives are being spearheaded by millennials and Gen Zers. They are passionate, they are influential, they are driven, they don't take no for an answer. They are committed and they are purposeful. And likewise, they want to partner with institutions that share common values as them. And this is where credit unions have the opportunity to win the millennials and the Gen Zers. Because one of the beauty about a credit union is that you feel as if you're a part of a community. It's the sharing and the building of the credit union members that makes you feel that you are a part of something that is big, and you're building communities, you're building people's lives, and you feel that your money, as you've invested it, is going toward worthwhile causes. And likewise, when you receive loans and so on from the credit union, you believe that you are with a partner that understands your financial goals and is helping you towards that. And this is where the credit unions have an opportunity to target the Gen Zers and the millennials by reaching them where they are on social media and all the digital channels, but building content that is relevant, that provides value added content and information for their challenges, for their for the issues that they have, the pain points that they have, and a partner that is committed to providing solutions. So it's not about reaching them and just advertising the products and services. The Gen Zers see through all of that. The millennials see through all of products and services. But the question they ask is, how does that benefit me? And so if the credit union is able to provide value-added information to help their consumers, to build their consumers, then what that leads to is building of brand affinity and relationships and loyalty with a very influential group that is then able to help to build the image of the credit union and help them to get to that point where they're no longer just surviving with the old, but they're thriving with the new. So one of the challenges, credit unions are doing worse with millennials. And this is not to scare you. This is looking at it to see, wow, this is what's happening. Why? What I'm seeing here are opportunities. So credit unions are doing worse. This is not my information. This is based on research. Credit unions are doing worse with millennials than any other generation. And I kind of just alluded to the reasons why earlier. You know, as a banking target market has flocked to fintech driven mobile finance experiences that prioritize faceless convenience over the advantages of credit unions. And that's just the reality. Gen Zers, millennials, they don't necessarily want to come into a branch, right? They want that faceless interaction that is prompt, that is responsive, and that's also efficient and effective. But the disconnect, as it says, is not the way it has to be. Credit unions offer a better deal for millennials than any other financial institutions, but to win them over, and I'm telling you, they're not an easy bunch to win over, or I should say, we're not an easy bunch to win over. Your marketing must embody and convey those advantages. It's simple. We have to talk their language. And when I say talk their language, I don't mean the slangs, because one thing that's important for brands is that brands have to stay true to their identity, right? You're not changing your brand identity to meet them. What you're doing is that you are understanding the way in which you need to connect with them and doing it from a place that is also authentic to who the brand is and what your brand represents. So winning them over, you must be able to embody and convey those advantages. And let me tell you something. I had a boss that I worked with, and he would call it lipstick on a pig, which literally means that you put lipstick on a pig and expect the pig to be something different. And I know that sounds harsh, but what I'm saying to you is that any communication that is made from a marketing standpoint, it has to come from a place of authenticity. So you can't just sugarcoat something or put lipstick on it and expect it to be packaged and marketed in a way to the millennials and the Gen Zers, to your target audience, without it not having that authenticity, because they will rip it apart. They will rip off the lipstick. They will rip off the sugar coating from the marketing and the catchy phrases and see exactly what you're offering to them. And if it does not suit their needs, then you're not going to win them over. So it's about being authentic. It's truly having that desire to want to help them to develop their financial needs, to help them to also aspire towards reaching their financial goals in a very authentic way. I love the fact that brands right now, they're not just looking at marketing and getting a customer here. They're looking at building relationships. And I've built relationships with brands that I'm still a customer, I'm still a client of theirs, you know, over a decade now, because of the relationships that have been built. And I don't feel that I'm just another customer. And that's what our target audience also wants from the credit union. You know, it says here, the disconnect is a customer experience issue, but it's not one that can be fixed by just improving customer service. You need to help these potential customers see what your brand represents throughout the lead generation process. And there are so many tools to help with lead generating process. You're taking them through the sales conversion funnel, where you're not just you're building the awareness, you are attracting them, you are engaging with them, you are converting with them, and then you're building them as loyal customers for you and advocates for your business and your brand. It says if you amplify personalized direct mail as an example with targeted digital marketing, you can create an omni-channel marketing experience that shows younger audiences you are both relevant to their world, and you're also able to deliver individualized, convenient banking experiences that they're looking for. And that's what they need. They want to know that you are customizing something just for them because you understand their challenges, you understand their pain points, you understand their needs, and you understand their goals. Customer behaviors and influences. So we spoke about it. The customers, their needs are evolving, and the more they're exposed, the more they're having, new experiences, because they're becoming more savvy, demanding more. I remember at Digicel, when we were doing one of our rebrands, we changed from bigger, better network to expect more, do more. Right? Because our customers evolved. It was no longer about us touting our chest to say that we are the bigger, better network. We've established that, but we've understood now that there is an emotional connection that we needed to make with our consumers. And so they were expecting more from us. As a bigger, better network, they were expecting us to deliver more. So we made it our mantra: expect more, do more. And we lived that out in every area of our business, in every activity that we did, in the products and services that we created, in how we innovated our marketing experiences and our marketing programs to really deliver on our brand promise. Competition is out there for the Gen Zers and the millennials. We spoke about that before. And there's easier access for them now more than ever to dynamic saving, loans, and investment options. There's increased access to data that they can receive online. They're doing comparisons now. No longer are they just, going with whoever has the strongest marketing campaign. They're comparing financial institutions to see who meets their needs the best and who best aligns with who they are as individuals. Customers want to be engaged and have a sense of belonging. They make decisions by group, I don't know about you, but I know I do that a lot, especially when I'm trying something new for the first time. It's more popular with restaurants, but what you're finding now is that persons are reading reviews online. They're looking at what other customers or former customers are saying about the institution, and they're using that to help to influence their partnership decisions. Purchasing decisions, they're influenced by their peers. If their peers are with this organization, then they tend to be a lot more open to the idea of being a partner with this organization as well. They want a financial partner that's knowledgeable, agile, knows them, understands them, and meets them where they are. And these are all the understanding of customer behaviors that marketing then utilizes to be able to develop the right programs, the right strategy, the right tactics, and the right products and services in order to meet the needs of that evolving market. The customer journey, wow, it was so complicated in a sense, a few years ago. And a typical journey would work something like this, right? So you travel to the bank, and I'm not saying that it worked, it's for all institutions, but this would have been the typical traditional journey of the customer. They travel to the bank, they meet with the representatives, they wait for a decision. Don't know how long that wait time takes, but I know that the credit unions have been working on even shortening the wait time, because they understand that, time is money. Then the person leaves, then they have to travel back to the branch to then receive the funds. And I know when I had my partnership with the credit union, that was my experience. But in the digital age now, that's all changing. So you can open accounts, you can apply for credit cards, you can apply for loans, all from the comfort of your home or from your mobile device. You can speak with an agent, you can do all the applications, upload all the necessary documentation, and within a couple of minutes, if not 24 hours, you get an approval and you're able to receive the funds directly to your account. Now, this may just be one product, right? But what this is showing is that the behavior of the customer is changing, and it has literally taken out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps to create just a 1-2 step process for completing transactions. And that's the ease and the convenience that persons are looking for. Then we look at another aspect of the customer journey where you're seeing so many things that tools that can be used and influences for the customer as they're moving through the whole sales funnel and the customer journey. You know, there are in-store and offline activities, there are online activities, there are in-store and online activities, phone and online activities. These are all marketing channels and tools that can be used to reach, act, convert, and engage our consumers. But you see the full gamut of it. This is why integration of marketing channels is important in order to develop the most effective marketing that delivers a return on the investment. Gone are the days where bells and whistles alone and fun promotions and, you know, dancing guys and girls would have actually engaged and created somewhat of a buzz and excitement. Marketing is data driven, it's scientific in its approach, and it provides tangible results that can be quantified. And as we understand the journey and the influences that our consumers have at each stage of their buying decision, we then understand which channels are most effective in targeting them and the type of content that we need to produce in order to reach them at every stage of their journey. It is a lot, but I can tell you that once you get it right, you have a recipe that is able to really deliver on the marketing results and the returns that you will invest in understanding how to utilize these channels to best reach your target audience. Omnichannel marketing is about providing appropriate and relevant content across different channels that ties together to create a unified message without becoming repetitive. They don't want to be told the same thing over and over and over again. It sounds like the brand is nagging. What consumers want is for you to understand them and know what content is relevant and appropriate for them at the different phases and the different stages and the different touch points that you're going to be reaching and engaging with them on. The same tone and the same content that I see for a brand on social media, I don't expect to see it when I'm reading a blog article. And these are the things that consumers are also looking for. They're trying to understand, they're trying to see if these partners, these financial institutions truly understand who they are, but also understand what they're doing. Are they experts in their field? And can they provide me with information, useful, value-added information that I can use to make a purchasing decision that can better my life? Meet customers where they are. They're all over. They're on social media. TikTok has blown up no more than ever before, right? And I'm not saying that brands must adopt all channels that are available, but as a brand, it is important to understand your brand identity, your personality, and understand who your target audience is, and then see if the channels that are available are the right channels to meet your consumers, your potential customers where they are. TikTok might not be for a credit union, you never know, but the research is what is going to provide the insights that you would need in order to identify if an Instagram page, for example, is an effective way to reach your potential audience. And if it is, then what type of content is most relevant and most appropriate to be developed and shared across that channel versus a Facebook or versus an owned blog. So by moving your marketing tactics to be more in line with what consumers expect and demand, and employing an optimized strategic approach, you will be able to grow your brand at a local and global level. And I've seen this happen so many times. I have worked with multinational brands and I've seen them develop, and I've been a part of those programs and those exercises to develop those marketing tactics that are in line with our customer expectations, based on the data that we have on our customers, based on the insights that we have garnered in terms of their behaviors, to be able to develop those optimized strategic approaches. So
Tshani?
Yes, am I over time?
1 second, we're about to close the breakout. I didn't want to break you, didn't want to break the momentum, but we have just a few minutes, maybe about 2 or 3, but we want to just give our participants just maybe a chance to ask 3 or 4 questions. So hopefully you can, answer those questions before we actually close the session.
Okay,
so
sorry,
we
I should
jump
have
over
set a
to
timer.
Okay.
I'm just so excited. So yes,
I know you are. Very insightful presentation, I must say. I feel it feels as if I'm at a lecture session, all about marketing. So thank you very much. But we have a question. Are you able to answer before you move on to the other slide? We have a question from Kimberly Lindo out of Jamaica. What are some tips we can, as marketers, to encourage colleagues to accept the importance of relearning the way we do things? What are some of the tips that you have?
Thanks for that question, Kimberly. That's always a big issue, right? Because a lot of times marketing is seen as a department that operates in a silo. But one of the things that I've found is that when you can engage the teams on the overall strategic vision and show how that then aligns with the company's vision, and garner input from the other departments and team members in terms of even building the tactical activities based on the objectives, I find that makes for a better cohesiveness between the various departments. So some of the tips that I would suggest based on what I have tried and what has proven effective is to engage with all the stakeholders within the organization at an early stage, share with them the vision and show how that vision is aligned to the overall business objectives and the importance of teams working together to now build out an effective tactical plan that will involve their input and benefit them as well as benefit the marketing efforts. I hope that answered your question. And I have some other tips actually closer to the end of the presentation.
1 second, Tshani. 1 second. We have another question before you go. Credit unions thrive on personalized approach. However, the data shows that Gen X appears to prefer the faceless, non-personalized approach. What is your best advice? I think we maybe have 3 minutes, just another 3 minutes before we jump over. Just 3 minutes. Thank you.
Okay, yes,
sure.
It's a combination of both. What the Gen Xers and the millennials want is that they want convenience. So if you can make that experience, even for them coming into the branch, an experience where it doesn't feel laborious, it doesn't feel like it's time consuming and a waste of their time, but it's really about building relationships, they will appreciate that over the faceless interactions. And I know for a fact too that what they like in terms of the faceless interaction is the speed and the convenience. So those are some of the things that really need to be worked out. If they can execute something online or start the process online, but then complete it in the branch and have that positive experience when they come into the branch, feeling as if the advisor understands them and is building relationships in a very authentic way, then they will appreciate that hybrid approach where they still can have that faceless interaction, but they also appreciate the relationship that coming into the branch affords them, and they feel as if they're working with someone who understands them, is knowledgeable, and is also helping them as an advisor to build.
Thank you for that, Shani. Thank you very much. Any more questions? Norman says, great answer. Thank you. All right, so over to you, Shani.
Okay, so marketing without borders really is leveraging the opportunities that are available in the digital space. And there are so many. So, I love this quote because it says the internet has turned what used to be a controlled one-way message into real-life dialogue with millions. And your consumers want to be able to interact with you in real life type scenarios. They want to ask questions via chat. They want to receive responses. They want to be able to leave comments on your blogs and receive a response, thanking them for their comments or engaging with them as a follow-up afterwards. And this just shows the evolution of digital marketing, how it has evolved since 1991. So many more different digital channels are now available, and the way in which we utilize those digital channels is also evolving. So I'm going to kind of run through it a bit, right? But what I want to talk about a little bit before I get into the tips is today's digital marketing executives. And I want to stress this because digital marketing has to be a part of the ethos of the organization. It's not a department, it's not a function, it's not two IT guys, right? It literally has to be part of the framework of the organization because it requires a digital marketing mindset to how customers are able to access customer service, how they're able to download forms or complete forms online. It's how they're able to apply for loans, open accounts online, and also how they're able to interact with the brand in a digital space. So today's digital marketing executives, they need to brings much needed focus, rigor, and strategic optimization of existing content across all the channels, producing stronger outcomes and ability to scale resources while amplifying organizational marketing. The top 10 marketing strategies focuses a lot on generating digital content and utilizing the different channels that are available to build value-added content that our consumers find useful and will be able to act on. Digital is not a department. Many companies, and this far expands, not just the financial industry, the telecommunications, the media. Many companies are evolving to what's called marketing 3.0. And this is where we have digital implants in strategic departments. So it's becoming more of a collective company effort as opposed to the individual efforts of small marketing digital teams. Integrate digital innovation into the very fabric of the enterprise to build a comprehensive digital strategy that is shared broadly and repeatedly at scale within your enterprise. And it's critical to embed digital literacy across the organization. So everyone in the organization, whether you're in marketing or you're in sales or you're customer facing or non-customer facing, should have some level of digital literacy. And that is how the cohesion and the camaraderie, and that is how the collaboration becomes important and effective, because they all have a basic understanding of digital literacy and the efforts that marketing will be making in terms of leveraging the digital platforms to reach and engage consumers. I'm going to jump through all of this because it really just looks at the channels. I had a few case studies. I'm going to jump across that as well because I know we don't
Shani,
have
1 second. Are we able to wrap in another 2 minutes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, awesome.
Yes.
I know you are going, and we have the information, and I'm sure persons are still here. That simply means that the information is, it's sitting well with us and we are benefiting. So go right ahead.
Okay, I'm going to skip the case studies, but I'll be happy to share this presentation with you and just jump right into what I would leave you with as the tips. So what should we do to attract digitally savvy, convenience-centric banking customers? credit unions must be able to deliver marketing that accomplishes three things at once: convey a better customer experience, embrace technology and convenience, and make a personal connection with their target audience. Adopt channels that meet customers where they are, develop a brand voice that is unique to your credit union, that is consistent, authoritative, and knowledgeable. Build content that solves customers' pain points and engages them. Integrate your marketing as part of the strategic framework for growth, and rebrand and reposition to gain relevance. So I want to leave you with these last marketing tips. Build your online community. Don't be afraid. Build your community. Credit unions already have a community of members. Build that online. Build your online reviews. Get your members to be advocates for your credit union, for your brand. Be where your potential customers are searching. Develop and disseminate authentic content that's relevant to your audience. Own your brand identity. You must know who you are, your strengths, and your value proposition. Build your brand story and be consistent with it. Develop packages and products that speak to the needs of your evolving target market. Stand for a cause greater than yourself and inspire your customers to stand with you. Reevaluate your brand image to see if it aligns with your target market. And if it doesn't, then don't be afraid to rebrand. And lastly, I want to leave you with this. Marketing's job is never done. According to Beth Comstock, who is the vice chair of GE, she said it's about perpetual motion and constant innovation. Thank you so much for this opportunity to share with you. I hope you would have, thank you for listening. And I hope you would have received useful insights that you'll be able to apply and helping shifting that mindset. So we're no longer in the surviving mindset. We're working towards that thriving mindset where we will see the fruits of our efforts and the productivity across the organization as well as individually. Thank you so much.
Tshani, 17 years of experience, but knowledge, unlimited knowledge. I sat here and I was listening. I love marketing. I have a passion. But now I was here wondering, do you really know this thing? Tshani, we keep changing, we keep growing, and we thank you for a very insightful presentation. Persons online, they've benefited. They're looking forward to your slides, looking forward to your presentation. We should have an entire day with Tshani Jaja. Believe me, it was an awesome presentation, not to mention your passion. We felt that the passion, it's as if you were really preaching. Thank you, guys. We go over to recharge, refresh, reboot, and we move over to the main stage. And of course, we have our exhibitors, and we'd like for you just to stop by. Tshani, thank you again, and ensure that you need to rekindle that relationship with your credit union, because
yes.
Credit union is a family, credit union, right? Thank you again.
Yes,
Thank you everyone for joining. To say thank you. Great presentation. How will the slides be shared? We will pass that information on later. Thank you. Going up in the chat, persons had an amazing experience with you, Tshani. Believe me, we need to talk. We need to talk. Enjoy the rest of your day.